So here we are. I've got my friend KJ on with me. You guys may remember her from a past episode where she told us all about her paranormal friend at her grandparents' house. What was his name? Did it start with an H?
No, Frank.
Frank.
My grandpa's name was Harold. So you were close. The ghost was Frank.
Oh, Frank in Harold's
Yep.
house. Gotcha. But KJ is a crazy cat lady who doesn't claim that because it's really her husband Patches that collects all the cats. But she has how many cats now?
There are 5 cats in our house right now. I'm trying to keep it that way. We have Rhodey, named because we adopted him the weekend that Iron Man 3 came out. We have Grayson, who is named because we adopted him on International Batman Day. I'm such a nerd. And then Amelia and Melody Pond from our favorite Doctor Who season, and Jaina, which was the name of Leia's daughter in the Star Wars novels. So we're huge nerds, and we get more cats and give them more nerdy names as the longer we stay together.
I love that. I totally love that. And for those of you that also don't know, KJ is the ringleader of the Kind of Nerdy Girls podcast that I'm on from time to time, and I'm always promoting on my social sites.
Yes, we always love having
So
you.
definitely check that out. She's on all the major podcast apps. Always a good time. Always fun to get nerdy with you.
Thank you. And you know what? To add a little credence to my cat loving life, I'm also the kitty correspondent for Pet Pals TV, which is on in 28 markets now. We're getting big.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. I mean, we're not as cool as you to be on Amazon Prime yet, but we're getting there.
Oh, stop. Stop it. But I love you. One really cool thing that KJ is that I don't know if many people know this about her, but you are a pet Reiki healer, correct?
Yes, I've never really done it as a profession, but Reiki was fascinating to me, and as I learned it, if you are unfamiliar with Reiki, it's basically healing with your hands. But I figured out that I really liked working with pets way more than humans because humans have expectations, like this is going to magically make everything better for me, and cats and dogs are like, hey, this is just kind of nice. Thanks.
So how did you learn how to do this? Did you go in for classes? Is it something you learned online?
To become a Reiki healer, you need to work with a master, a Reiki master who can attune you. And basically, what they're doing when we're born, we are open to everything. And then we get told that we're seeing things, or we don't have an imaginary friend, or we're conditioned to kind of shut those channels down.
Amen to that.
Right? Yeah. And so what a Reiki master does is basically open that back up in you so that you can receive and give energy. And I explain it to people in the simplest form. Even if you're not attuned, you are capable of doing this because we all know how much better we feel when someone hugs us.
Oh,
That's an energy transfer. That's laying on of hands. So, I mean, you definitely want to get attuned so that you can open yourself up to being able to completely, receive the energy from the universe and allow it to just flow through you and share it with other people and other pets. And you can share it to events going on in the world. I actually have a Reiki box right now that is set up with the intention to just sort of protect the world at this time and send energy where it needs to go. So it's really kind of cool what you can do with it. It's kind of all about getting attuned, which there's 4 different levels. I'm a second degree, which means that I can send distance Reiki.
what?
And if I wanted to do
No, I didn't know that was something you could do from a distance.
Yeah, you didn't know that? That was why I decided to go into the second degree. I haven't really felt the need to go into the third or master level, although I've had a lot of people that want me to, because if I was a master, that I could attune them and they could do it too. But at a second degree, you are attuned and you're given some symbols, and I can't tell you what they are because it's kind of part of the Reiki way.
Top secret shit.
And I mean, at this point, you can Google it because people don't respect these kind of things anymore.
Well,
But if they're not gonna, those symbols aren't gonna do you any good if you haven't been attuned to them. So I got attuned so that I could do that, and that is really what launched me into being able to work with pets because. As you know, I mean, sometimes your dog wants all the snuggles in the world, and sometimes your dog wants you to not touch it. Depending on how sensitive an animal is to Reiki, some of them will want your hands just on them and they just like melt into it. And some of them want to sit somewhere in the room near you, but not have you touch them. And with the distance Reiki, I'm able to, work with cats and dogs. And I haven't really worked with any other animals, but I could if someone needed me
oh wow.
to just sort of tune into them and do my best to send them the energy that they need to heal.
So is pet Reiki different than human Reiki?
Not necessarily. There's different, there's certain positions that you want to, put your hands in sort of from start to finish. If you go in for a Reiki treatment, there's a very systematic way of making sure that you put your hands in the right places to move the energy through the body. And with pets, it's just a little bit different on where you put your hands. I like working with cats. They have an extra chakra.
What?
Yes. So cats have an extra chakra, and it's actually that chakra is what bonds them to their loved ones. So it bonds them to their human, it bonds them to other pets in their life. It's like literally a chakra for connecting, and which is part of the reason that I think that cats are so psychic and able to pick up on a lot more and able to really tune in with their humans, is they actually have this chakra that is specifically there that you can go in and open up and kind of help them if they're locked into a prey mode where they're scared because something has happened, and you can kind of work with that chakra to remind them that you're a human that they're connected to and they can trust.
Oh, wow. Now, speaking of the paranormal, the psychic part of this extra chakra of cats or kittens or whatever, your cats are really
Mhm.
attuned to the paranormal world, and I want to know more about that.
Yeah, they are. We've always had, we've always felt very connected when our cats have crossed over. We've felt their presence and recognized different, oh, that was their favorite toy and now it has moved to a different room and they're not here anymore. So how did that happen? But when Melody came in, she really kind of rocked our world and kind of took it to a whole new level. And I think it was because, to add a little backstory to this, a year before we got Melody, we lost two of our cats exactly a month apart, and they were both
Mhm.
very sudden. And they were really they were a connection to the very first cat that we had had together in our relationship. So when we lost them, it was sort of like a part of us was really gone because we had always, we were living with pets who had lived with our first pet,
Aw.
and now that was over. And so it was a not something I was ever anticipating, like, oh, it's going to be so hard when Riley and Nandy passed because they were connected to Reggie, and what's that going to mean for us? But when it happened, it kind of, yeah, it's that grief you get in your gut where I wasn't expecting this.
Right.
And so we struggled a lot with what to do. And do we get another cat so quickly? Like, is that selfish? Is that, are we just kidding ourselves that that's going to make the grief better? And so what happened, as you know, shelters are never short on pets who need to be adopted, right?
Right, right.
So we decide, there was a day, it was a couple weeks after Nandy had passed, and we decide, you know what? It was International Adopt a Pet Day, and we're like, this is a sign. we need to go.
Yes.
Today we're going to go. And not because not because necessarily because we're grieving and we think that this will replace what we've lost, but because we can bring some joy to another animal. We have the capacity to do that. Let's do it. This is a symbolic day. Kitsie, we went two different I'm sorry, three different places. We went to a shelter and then we went to two stores that adopt out for shelters,
Okay.
and no one had cats. There were no cats available to adopt.
Which is wonderful,
I'm
but
like,
not for you.
right. I'm like, wait, what do you mean? Like, I got myself all ready for this. And so we were like, okay, that's fine. The one shelter we went to, I shouldn't say they didn't have cats, but we were 5 minutes past the time that they allow people to adopt. So we couldn't have a cat.
Oh.
And then the other places were like, oh, we don't have cats. So we're like, okay, that's a sign.
Yeah.
Fine. We go, we're like, well, let's wait till the weekend. This is going to be fine. We'll wait until Friday. Then we have all weekend to, sort of onboard this new animal in our life. We go that Friday night and no
Oh
cats
my gosh.
again. Like the shelter wasn't adopting. I'm like, I don't understand. I'm an animal advocate. This is insane. And so I was really, really devastated.
Yeah.
And so we decided, what, we're just gonna let this be. Let's just go get dinner. Let's just it is what it is. The universe is sending us a message. It's not time. So we went and we were having a drink and decided there was a PetSmart near us that we hadn't been to, and we were like, let's go in there just to get we'll get our cats some toys and stuff. It'll make us happy to be in there.
Right.
And we walked in there, and I have never had an experience like this in my life. We walked in and I saw Melody, and it was like this rush of energy, like in the movies when they kind of show what it's like when your mind is racing and images are coming to you
Yeah.
like super fast and you're like, what is happening? It literally all came back to me that the night before I had had a dream and my mother had visited me, and my mother she never visits me in my dreams. I honestly really don't. I don't get very many visits from my mom, and that's okay because I think she's just
And your mother has passed.
yes, my mother has passed. So in this dream that rushed back to me so quickly, I remember we were walking through this. It was a shelter and it was kind of like in a barn, and there were so many cats, and I'm like, here's where all the cats are, geez. And it was like stacks, and she never said anything to me, but she pointed up in the air, and I looked up and there was this little kitten sitting on top of a cage, and I reached up to her and she jumped down to me, and I kid you not, it was Melody. And I
Wow.
screamed in the store. I was like, oh my God, that's her. She's right there. She's right there. That's her. That's her. And, my poor husband's like, okay. So
True
I
patches
think we'll
form.
take that one. The clerk comes over and he's like, do you guys want to adopt? And I was like, that kitten right there is coming home with us. Whatever we have to do, get the paperwork going, give her to me. She's mine. And he said, oh, this is so interesting. She's only been here for maybe 3 hours. She had
Whoa.
a 3 hour drive to get here, and then she's maybe been here 3 hours. And so had we gone looking on any of those other days for Melody, she wouldn't have been there yet.
No.
And so I truly believe my mother was orchestrating getting us the cat that we needed, because we named her Melody because it was she put a song in my heart. The second that I saw her, it was just, I can't even explain it. It was so perfect. And just to have to then explain it to my husband, why I'm having this emotional reaction. I'm like, my mom picked her out for us. I'll explain more when we get home. Sign the paperwork.
Sign it now.
And so, yeah, just sign the paperwork. Because the guy was like, yeah, there's a couple other people interested in her. And I was like, hell no. That cat is mine. You know what? We're coming up on 2 years since we adopted Melody. Her adoption day is just a couple days away. And actually, I've been seeing lots of pictures of my cats that passed show up in my memories. So it's funny that we're talking about this now because I've been so connected to my two cats that passed a couple years
Oh,
ago just in the
wow.
last few days. But Melody is so psychic. It is incredible to watch her, and I just want to like see through her eyes,
Yeah.
because she sees and she feels so much. And I mean, there was even a point where I mean, like, she's never been afraid of anything in her life. And we had, I'm not going to say who it was because it was a family member, but we had a family member that was visiting, and she was terrified. Like, I
Oh,
mean, like running around the house and hiding, and her eyes were popping out of, like just like dilated, and you could see her little heart was racing. And I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. And when this family member left, it was like she went back to normal. I was like, she was having a
whoa.
reaction to, this person. And then we come to find out a little bit later, this person who was in our house was struggling with a really, really deep depression that had a lot of anger attached to it.
Oh,
And so it was like someone that she loved was scaring the crap out of her,
yeah.
and she didn't know what to do with it. It's been one thing after another. And I'm trying to think of, can you jog my memory on what we were just talking about? There was another Melody story that just happened. I had another dream about her?
I
Oh
don't
God, it was
know.
something that was super weird.
I'm Alzheimer's years old. I knew when you first got Melody that she was seeing things that you were not, and you were slightly concerned.
Yes, and so we that was our first clue into she's sensitive. So we actually we have a really a great friend who has been I mean, it's not like she became a pet communicator. She's been able to communicate with pets her whole life, and we've been friends for about 20 years. And I actually enlisted her help to talk to us about, like, how can we help Melody, because she's clearly experiencing something that we don't understand. And she said immediately, she's that, yeah, she is absolutely psychic. She was seeing a lot of our other pets who had passed,
Oh,
but she was
wow.
also seeing a lot of people, not only that we're connected to, but there's a Native American guy who he mostly just stands at the top of our stairs and
Wait,
glares at
what?
us. he's
How did I not know
he's
this?
not, you don't know this?
No!
Oh my gosh, yes. He's been here the whole time. I shouldn't say he glares. It's almost like that. It's just this sort of like confused, like, what are you doing here?
Oh, gotcha, gotcha.
And but Melody was, I had never told anybody that because I had felt it, and I talked to my husband about it. And he's not as sensitive, and he's a little, he's not skeptical. He's just not like diving into exploring that
Right.
type of, you know, world. So I'm like, hey, this house we moved into, we've got an older Native American man who clearly lived here first. And I don't
Clearly.
know what that's going to mean for us, but yeah, I hadn't thought about him in a while because he doesn't make as many appearances as he did when we first moved in. But she was describing him to our pet communicator friend, and I was like, well, she is 100% seeing the between the veil, because
Wow.
that guy has been on these grounds as long as we have, and I've never talked to anybody about it. So I
Wow.
had to kind of walk her through like this, he's not going to hurt you, and really walk her through the different people that may come and the different pets that may come, because to her they were everything was is as real to her as we are real to her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's we kind of had to work through like these are the humans that are in body who love you and are going to take care of you, and there are going to be other people that you see that aren't in body and they're not going to hurt you. But to really, I mean, she was, gosh, I think she was like 16 weeks old at the time. She was like a little baby,
Yeah.
just having in this influx of psychic energy. And and one of the things in the piece to the puzzle was that she was chosen specifically for us, and that she needed to be more aware of the emotions that we were going through, and that was why she came to us, was in that as she grew into an adult she would be able to handle it more. Now she has a freaking blast. Like she's running around the house, chasing things all the time. She's got this little tiny meow, and she's always, talking shit to things in the air that we're like, I don't know who's here, but
Oh my god, that's great.
so she's always like, to have a pet like that who can not only be as connected to you as their human as they are, but to really give you that validation that things happen in the right time and the right place, and that we are connected on a bigger level, is it's fascinating and so reassuring. And part of the reason I like to do Reiki with animals is to try and help other pets be that connected to their human.
That's amazing. I'm curious if like adults, a lot of children see spirits and things like that. I wonder as she gets older if it'll go away or if she was just born that way and will always see that kind of thing, kind of like a psychic medium. It's just that was her calling.
Well, she is 2 years old now, and I have a video from just a couple of hours ago where she was on the stairs, and it was probably Mr. Native American, and she was like playing and talking and looking around and just like going crazy. And you can hear me in the video go, "Who's here, Melody?" But she's so playful about it now. Like it was a scary thing for her at first,
Yeah.
and now, it's her normal. So at this point, she has not lost that ability by any means, and I think being able to, to have some, I'm sure that there are probably some people listening who are like, "What is this for real?" But to have that dream that I had with my mother, and
Yes.
then to have that dream that I had with my mother, to have the confirmation that, like, we weren't getting cats because we weren't meant to get cats because that cat wasn't here yet. Like there were so many things that, I think we were able to prepare and be able to help her deal with what she was seeing and what her reality was. So, oh my gosh, I have to tell you that I remember the melody dream because
Oh,
it was hysterical. So it ties back into some grief. My grandfather passed away last year, who is my mother's father, and we it was, I mean, I think, people know when you have like a really strong patriarch, and it was just sort of the glue of the family. And
yeah.
so there was a lot of grief just across like our entire family, just confusion. But my uncle, who was really close to my mother, they as brother and sister, they were super bonded, and he's had a really hard time, with my mom passing and then losing his dad. And so I had a conversation with him, and kind of just to like, hey, I'm here for anything that you need. And then that night I had a dream that my mother came to visit, and my uncle came to visit, and we were having the most magical time. Like, it was like sitting around the kitchen table catching up, very like
Oh,
normal, like sequence dream. And I was so happy because my mom never talks to me. And so I was just like, oh, I got my mom and I got my uncle, and this is so great. And then my uncle said he had to go, and my mother gave him Melody and said, take her
what?
with you. And he left with my cat. And I
Unacceptable.
woke up and I was like, what the fuck, mom? Like, you come to visit me and then you give my cat away? So for like, I kind of like sat on it for a few days, and I'm laughing about it, but I'm also like, that's so disturbing to me that this cat that my mother gave me, that like I was trusted with, that she would come again and like just be like, oh, take her with you. Um,
It's like she's trying to tell you he needs her because she's obviously got a bond to this cat, and there's no way you're giving her up, but maybe it's time for him to buy a cat.
well, he has like 5 cats and 4 dogs. I texted him and said and told him about the dream. And I said, so the next time you visit, I'm going to be checking your suitcase before you leave. He said, you should be checking my suitcase when I get there for incoming cats. So, but as it's sort of like what you said, Kitsie, like as we really, talked about it, I talked with him. I said, like it was just sort of this another like feeling that I had. And I just said to him, I said, my mom wanted me to give you the same love that she gave me.
Oh.
That's what that was.
Oh.
As powerful as the gift of melody, I'm just like, I'm going to cry. As powerful as the gift of melody was for me, that was her sign to me that, like, don't give him your cat, but give him that love.
Yeah.
He needs you because he doesn't have me. And so that was, as we talked through it, I'm like, this totally makes sense. And my God, Melody is just the like most amazing psychic cat that she would also join in that dream and be like, yeah, you need to like pass this on to him. And so since then I've been, I've been much more aware. He and I don't talk a lot, but I've been much more aware of checking in and making sure that I'm sort of sharing that part of me with him.
Oh, that's so great. Oh, well, this is a feel good Oddisode. I love this. Thank you so much for sharing these stories with us.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Thank you so much, KJ. You're the best. And I love that we have this weird little thing in common. And you've taught me so much, honestly. And I appreciate the shit out of you, girl.
Oh, I love you. I can't wait to hug you
I
soon.
know.
I'm gonna send
Someday.
you some. I'm gonna send you some Reiki. That's gonna feel like a hug.
I need it. I need it.
All right. All
Okay.
right. Love
Take
you.
care, girl. Send Patches my love too.
Oddity Files is an independent production. Intro music created by DJ Jimmy. Wah wah. 2020 artwork created by me, Kitsie Duncan. The opinions expressed in this podcast are ours, and ours alone. Well, maybe yours too. If you like the show and would like to support us, visit oddityfiles.com and click on support, or go to patreon.com/oddityfiles. Every little bit helps with both the podcast and the TV show. You can also support us by watching Oddity Files on Amazon Prime. It's free to Prime members and dirt cheap to those who aren't. You can find us on all the social media sites at Oddity Files. Keep spreading the word by sharing, retweeting, and reposting. Join our Oddity Files Facebook group by searching Oddity Files Fan Group and click join. We'll approve you as soon as we can. All weirdos are welcome. Not into that social media stuff? Tell your coworkers, family, even the weird guy who just won't stop talking to you in line for coffee. Oh, and grandma. Your grandma will love us. We appreciate each and every one of you, and if it weren't for you, we have no idea what we would do with our lives. If you have a story you'd like to submit, send it on in at oddityfilescrew@gmail.com. Also, send in story ideas, silly, weird memes, or just positive vibes to oddityfilescrew@gmail.com. You can also call in and leave that in a voicemail. Call us at 317-300-6699. To contact us about an appearance, reach out at Kitsie at oddityfiles.com. When you have a sec, rate, review, and subscribe. We know it doesn't sound like much, but it really helps us get up there on the podcasting charts. And remember, kids, weird is the new cool. Ghost on. Why are you still here? Go on. Get out of here. Turn it off. It's done. Really? I swear. Go. Get. Serious, I'm out of here.